title of the paper, you'll get a kick out of this, Tony, is The Effects of Cursing on Exercise Performance. So I'm going to let you tell the story because the results are actually kind of interesting.
It really was fascinating. So I was watching a Netflix documentary on the history of cursing. And so they're going through all of these myths, and we really don't know where a lot of the words came from. But then they found that cursing actually aided in pain tolerance. So naturally, I was like, we're in a lot of pain. A lot of times, if you're trying to do time to exertion tests, you're feeling it. So naturally, I wanted to see how cursing was going to help with exercise performance. And actually, on a side note that most people don't know, I'm still bitter about this. In 8th grade, I got suspended from school, and I was a straight A student because I was singing a song that had a curse word in it. And my mom's pretty religious and always tells me not to curse. So I was elated to do this study. It was lots.
Was it a song by Two Live Crew?
No, it was actually a song by Green Day.
Oh, really? They have a curse word?
Yeah, there was this curse word in the song, and I was singing it in the locker room, and some 3rd grader ratted me out. And I got zeros for the day, and it killed my straight A's. So, I was just really happy to do this cursing study.
Okay, so I remember you spoke to me about it way back when, and I said to you, there is no way I am involved in data collection. No way. I do not want to be in the room. And you would, and I think this happened to you as well. Students don't want faculty around when they are literally cursing. So explain how that came about, because you weren't in the room as well. So how did you set it up?
Yeah, and actually, that is a limitation in the study that I didn't think about until I was recruiting students. And one of them asked me if I was going to be there, and I'm there for data collection. And I said, yeah. And he said he quite simply didn't feel comfortable cursing in front of me. And it wasn't something I thought of. I don't curse in class. I sound like a sailor in my normal life, but I don't curse professionally. So my students don't see that. So I had to have research assistants and go over all the protocol. And so obviously I had a cursing room and a non-cursing room. And so it was controlled in that context. So I asked people, if you were to stub your toe, what is the first word that would come to mind? And whatever word that was, then I created a similar word and syllable and sound and all of that they would use as a control. And it was a crossover study. So people came in, half the time, half the group started cursing with either, can I curse here on the show?
Yeah, it's a podcast.
All right. I just didn't know. So we had
wait, stop there. I want to know what Tony would say when he stubs his toe.
Oh, I want to know.
You really want to hear it?
Yes.
Well, it wouldn't be one word. I mean, everything to me is pretty much go F yourself, right? So I would blame it on the curb or whatever I bump my toe into, and it can go fuck itself. Yeah. Oh, I can't curse on even on our show. It's very hard for me, but nevertheless.
No, I'm the same way. I will say, if I walk into a pole, I'm like, fuck that pole.
Yeah, exactly.
The pole's fault, right?
I curse out whatever did it, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you. Well, so if people said motherfucker, then they had to say mother fudger when they were in the control group.
In control, okay.
Right? So, and shit and shoot and damn and darn, right? So, and darn it or damn it, whatever. And so it was really interesting. And they had to say the word every 5 seconds in accordance with a metronome.
Well, you had one subject whose control word was neighbor.
Yes.
And it took me a while to be like, neighbor? Oh, neighbor. Oh, okay.
Yes. Oh, okay. Yes. And I want to add that it was one of my Black students, because that is a point. Right. So, yeah. So
I was like, wait a minute.
That's not a curse word, though.
Well, no, that's the control word.
Oh, yeah. Neighbor.
Yeah. So
now, let me ask you this, though. Like, if I stub my toe, I say MFer or goddamn or whatever. If I consciously decided to say control word, like just as an experiment, I would have a hard time saying it because it doesn't naturally flow. And I don't know if there's I don't know how that works in terms of language in the brain and how you respond to pain. But I would imagine that's the only way you could do this study. I mean, you can't not have the control word.
Well, I mean, I wasn't in there for the cursing group, but I was around for the non-cursing. And I mean, it was hilarious to watch people do a wall sit, and every 5 seconds, they just seemed so aggravated, like fudge. fudge. You know, they just seemed so annoyed because it isn't normal. But I don't think it's normal to curse every 5 seconds in accordance with a metrodome anyway. Like that's just
Right.
not, you know, you say
I'm sorry, how long were they on the wall sit?
it was time to exhaustion.
Okay.
So every 5 seconds, and then push up, we did wall sit, push up, plank, and then hand grip.
Here,
ice.
Tony, just to give you an idea, the non-cursing wall sit was 115 seconds. The cursing wall sit was 140 seconds. So that's 110, 115 versus 140. That's actually a pretty big difference.
It's huge. I'm going to train after this and curse out about everybody. This is.
It might look like you have Tourette's if you're just randomly cursing while you're lifting weights. But I would like to film that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll send you it.
No, to me this is interesting because it's you know it's non-traditional exercise in sports science research, and you had 4 measures. You had hand grip, you had wall sits, you had push-ups, and you had planks. So how did you come up with those the exercise choices? Because you know, it's most people are like, well, why would I hand grip and then wall sit in the same workout? I mean, who does that?
Well, the reality is 1 RM would just be too challenging and too long, and then you're just cursing as you're doing it. So 1 RM wasn't there. The isometric hand grip was really kind of a last minute thing that I threw in, to be honest. I was really looking at time to exhaustion tests because I figured that I would have it. I didn't expect the hand grip to be significant. I was surprised when I saw that. But hand grip correlates well with a lot of things. So that was a last minute throw in, and realistically, but, they were just really easy tests to execute, and people had 5-minute, breaks in between them. So they did wall sit first and they hand grip first, 5 minutes, but that one, whatever, wall sit. And then I made everybody wait the 5 push-up plank.
Well, here's the data. Hand grip, and all of these are statistically significant. They're significantly different. So the cursing group was 9% stronger in hand grip. Mm-hmm. They were 22% lasted longer in the wall sit. They did 15% more push-ups, and they did 12%. They lasted 12% longer in the plank. So we're not talking a 1 to 2% difference. It's actually a pretty big difference. And I wonder what it would have been if the control group said nothing, meaning they just were there. But I don't know. That's purely speculative. I'm sure you thought of that as well. Yeah,
I did. I only really saw 2 other studies that did this, and they were looking at like wind gate performance. And I believe one group had them say absolutely nothing, and then one group also had them cursing. So I can't remember the difference there, but I didn't know if there was something that you would feel by exhaling, like fudge, you know, if you're saying right. And so I wanted to keep it as similar as possible, which is why I had them use that substitute word. But interestingly enough, I actually read another study showing that the effect of pain reduction that you get from cursing is actually reduced in people that curse all the time.
Wait, say that again.
The amount of reduction, the pain reduction that you get is reduced. So think of like a tolerance to cursing if you're somebody who curses all the time. And I didn't think to study that. So it would have been interesting to have people guess or estimate how many curse words they say on a daily basis and see if their changes were related to that.
So,
but I didn't think of that until later.
Yeah, no, makes sense. It's because it's almost dose dependent there. I mean, it's losing its efficacy the more you use it, right? So, but this is really cool, Leah. So from a psychophysiology standpoint, which this is not even XPhys, this is psychophys. How is a mood or a cognitive process changing peripheral performance, right? What is it? Do you think it's what leads up to the curse word that preempts the body? Are we getting a extra, I doubt it, but epinephrine kick? Or what do you think is going on here? Like, so, you know, does the anger that gets the curse out have an impact on it? Is it the curse word itself? Or is it how is it affecting the nervous system is what I'm wondering. And it's okay if we don't know.
I really don't know. I mean, I would imagine any type of relief, not to go back to the show in terms of sexual functioning, but like people can withstand a lot more pain during sexual acts in the same types of ways.
That's true.
The same relief. So I would presume there would be some type of link there, but we really don't know.
Yeah, really fascinating. That's what I want to try to figure out.
Yeah, blood tests during this would have been pretty interesting. I was able
Yeah,
to-
because you could have looked at catecholamine response,
yeah.
cortisol levels, maybe even like cytokine or interleukins may have, what was the inflammatory response? Really, really cool though.
Yeah,
Fascinating.
it's a great
You
study to
didn't-
start off with. There's so many ways to, run with it.
Right,
Right.
and you didn't, like ahead of time, you didn't know who were the people who cursed and who didn't. Like some people just curse all the time, they swear, and others don't typically do that. So, but you didn't get that data before.
Nope, I had no idea what their cursing was. The only thing I said is, make sure that you feel comfortable cursing. Because, I didn't need people who were just really uncomfortable with the topic and then we're just trying to curse to do a study. So I wanted people to feel comfortable with it because I'm assuming if you're feeling uncomfortable cursing, then you wouldn't get any benefit. So, somebody that didn't have any religious problems with cursing or any moral problems with cursing, I wanted to make sure that I eliminated them. But
What was the most popular curse word they chose, Leah?
fuck.
Fuck and fudge.
By far, it was fuck followed by shit. So that was by far the curse word when you're in pain that people are gonna say.
Those are probably the two most commonly used words in the English language.
Hey, I mean, it makes you feel better, right? If you're telling a story and you're angry, it just makes you feel better.
Yeah, I guess. I think you're good. This is game changing. I think instead of hearing quarterbacks like Peyton Manning used to go up to the line and go, Omaha, Omaha, they may now be F you. And, we're gonna much better offense now.
That's
I
right.
love it. I love it. Yeah. That's what my TV.
That's
my
not a
Gators
bad
need.
idea. That's not a
Yeah.
bad idea. So if you were to give, the audience loves these little short tidbits, an elevator pitch, summarize that study in 60 seconds, what would you say?
I could summarize it in probably one sentence. If you
Okay.
want better performance, curse.